I hate my life.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord. Praise ye the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us.
The only deliverance the other nations are going to get is deliverance right into slavery. They're going to be our slaves, thus saith the Lord.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Jeremiah 30:16 tells you every last one of the other nations, which are non-Israelites, are going into captivity. They're going into slavery underneath the Israelites when the Israelites go back into rulership. When is the Israelites going to go back into rulership? When the Lord comes. That's what he's coming to do. He's coming to set up the Israelites in rulership, beginning with King David. And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness after he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
Why did God make us Edomites? God hates us. Why? God, why?
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power, to victory and the dawn of a new era.
And when I say rulership, meaning the planet Earth, we're going to be ruling the planet Earth in righteousness after he puts down the wicked. Who's the wicked? The Edomites, which are in power right now. Who are the Edomites? The so-called white man.
This is our kingdom, a kingdom of righteousness. Praise the Lord Yahweh. Praise ye the Lord.
Beginning with those top banking families, which happen to be so-called white people. We're talking about the Rothschilds, Rockefellers. We're talking about the DuPonts. We're talking about the Gettys, the Oppenheimers, and families like that. Okay, so when Yahushua comes back, he's going to take away their rulership, which they're enjoying right now. That's the long and short of it.
You need to pick up the pace, James. I need 200 pounds by sunset.
Yes, sir. I'm on it, Master. Why did God make us Edomites? I hate my life. Why did God make us Edomites? I hate my life.
Praise the Lord, for he is greatly to be feared. He removed the wicked and put us righteous in power.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples to his younger brothers. And peace and blessings and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shah. All right. And what I want to get into today, is dealing with the history of white Christian nationalists. All right. Because what we have to understand, this is an ideology, okay, that these devils, have used, to justify their wickedness in the earth, okay, and to present themselves as the good guys in the midst of their wickedness, man. Okay, so they've been running with this term, okay, white Christian nationalist, which, has emerged, back at the forefront of society, okay, where these devils, present themselves as the liberators of the earth, okay, as the pillars of civilization, okay, and they push themselves in the forefront as if, okay, they did have to do some, they did a lot of violence, they did colonize, they did, enslave people, but it was for the better good of humanity. If we didn't come in and do it, humanity would be lost, okay, without our brutal colonization of the world. Okay, look what's come of it. Look at this, you know, uh, modern, technical, high tech, okay, convenient society. Well, that wickedness was worth it. The wickedness we had to do, the violence, the brutality, okay, the enslavement, well, all these things, were necessary for us to get to this point. Okay, and it had to be the Edomite, okay, white male, okay, that had to do it. Edomite white Christian male. Okay. So I want to start off here in the book of Second Ezra chapter 2, and then we'll get into a few videos I want to get into. But when you go into Second Ezra chapter 12, starting at 10, okay, and we're gonna read down, then we'll segue, all right, to what is white Christian, okay, nationalism. Okay, now when you go into Second Ezra, all right, chapter, it's like when you go into Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10, it said, "Never trust thine enemy, for like his iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass. Thou shalt know that his rust has not been altogether wiped away." Okay? So this devil, he's come in his humble spirit over the decades as if he's like this is a different generation of Edomites from their forefathers who did all these atrocities, man. Okay, but these devils benefit heavily off the atrocities of their forefathers. Okay, and we know in this time going back, all right, to the beginning of the slave trade. Okay, that those devils are back today. Okay, those families are still benefiting off, their slave labor from back in the day, but they come humble themselves as if he's a changed man, and the civil rights played a major part in that, because a lot of people look, at civil rights because there was a psyops, okay, to get you believe that the so-called white man had to change your heart by allowing, Jake to be included into his society, and even in that, it's still limited, even to this day. Okay, there's barriers, all right, that you Jakes have never crossed. Okay, but he has humbled himself as if he's changed. All right, and our people, have gravitated to this man, and began to worship this man. Okay, and then he goes back to the psyops of plantation Christianity, man. And then him painting himself. All right, him painting, okay, the Most High in his likeness, the Messiah in his likeness, the prophets in his likeness, man. Okay, it was all to push Edomite supremacy. Okay, it says, "Set him not by thee." I said, when he have, I said, least when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand, lest he seek to take thy seat, and thou art the last. All right, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked. All right, therewith. Okay, because ultimately lead to that sea hill. Okay, and if you, all right, allow this man, okay, to be you trust this man in any capacity, okay, because ultimately he gets you to trust him to disarm you so he can make his move. Okay, and as our people, continue to trust this man until this day, they're constantly being overthrown. Okay, because when he so-called allowed you to integrate into his society, what came next? Feminism. okay, was destroyed, okay, the community, man, was destroyed, all right, Jake families, okay. Then he came right back with what? All right, the black exploitations and the drugs, all right, which glorified degenerate characters, okay, and then what? Chemical warfare, you know. You see, so you trusted this man because of civil rights. He allowed you to vote, but then he began to overthrow you covertly, you know, as they would glorify degeneracy and chemical warfare through the drugs. Okay, at least he seek to take thy seat, because ultimately this devil, he wants to be the chosen people, man. Okay, white Christian nationalism is about this devil, okay, pushing the doctrine that he's chosen. Okay, you see, because he wants the blessing, okay, of Jacob. All right, that's why you can even get let's see, when you go into Genesis the 27th, what does the devil say? Okay, let's get there real quick and we'll go back to it. So this is the book of Genesis chapter 27. All right, what did the devil say? All right, this is the book of Genesis chapter 27 verse 41. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob. So Esau hated Jacob because of what? The blessing. Okay, and these devils are still envious of that blessing. And in his mind, through the sword, he's going to make himself the chosen. You know, in his mind, with his technology, his wealth, his resources, okay, he's going to bless himself. This whole new world order is about Esau saying, look, I'm going to bless myself with immortality. I'm going to bless myself with possession of the earth and the people forever. Okay? And white Christian nationality is this white Christian nationalist ideology, okay, plays a major part in their thinking, man, in their ideology, man. Okay? So going back here to second Esdras, okay, is the book of second Esdras chapter 12, okay, and verse yeah, I think that's the point in it, you know. You see, so let's go here. So I asked it dealing with white, all right, white nationalists. Let's go here, right? All right, so I looked in white Christian nationalist roots, okay. So I looked up, okay, on the chat. I asked, I said, was white Christian nationalism rooted in violence and the worship of power? Okay, it says yes. White Christian nationalism has historically been rooted in violence and the worship of power. Though it's important to unpack those terms, all right, carefully to avoid oversimplification. It says, what is white Christian nationalism? White Christian nationalism is a political and cultural ideology that fuses, okay, that fuses Christian identity, usually conservative, often Protestant, white radical identity, national identity, often tied to the U.S. Okay, let me see. All right, it says often tied to the U.S. and other Western countries. Okay, so when you go into what is white Christian nationalism, it's political and cultural ideology. Okay, and MAGA embodies that. You know, these conservatives, as if, you know, they want to go back what Trump had to say and make America Christian again. And he's talking about, all right, white Christian nationalism. That has nothing to do with the Bible. Okay, It's a political and cultural ideology, okay, about Edomite supremacy, man. Okay, make America great again is when Edomite was the undisputed, okay, supremacist in America, man. All right, his supremacy wasn't being challenged. Okay, that's what he's speaking of. All right, and then you have all these other Western nations that colonized the earth. All right, under the banner of Christianity, man. All under the banner of the Edomite male. All right, the Edomite Christian male. Okay, civilized the earth. Okay, and brought humanity. All right, to a place. Okay, of convenience and technology and advancements. Okay, all under the white male Christian. Okay, which are Edomites. It said it promotes the idea that the country was founded as a Christian nation and that its laws and culture should reflect conservative Christian values, typically from white, European, all right, Euro-American, all right, perspectives. Okay, now when you go into here it is, they talked about all this Christian talk, but when you go into what they was actually doing, said roots and violence. It says historically, white Christian nationalism has been tied to systems of violence and oppression, including, okay, colonialism and genocide. The European conquest of the Americans was often justified using Christian, all right, theology, examples, the doctrine of discovery, things we went into before. You can look it up. Okay. It said native people were seen as heathens and violently displaced, enslaved, or killed, but they did all this under the banner of Christianity. Okay. This was the frame as a divine mission to civilize, okay, and convert. Okay. And we're going to show you the contradictory of these devils, man. Okay. Slavery says in the U.S., many white Christians use the Bible to justify African slavery. The belief in white Christian superiority was used to legitimize brutal systems of control, okay, and oppression. Okay. And they take one precept, slaves obey your masters, which they had nothing to do, okay, with what these devils were doing, okay, to the Israelites, which they call African, those Israelites, okay, and also the indigenous people, the northern tribes that was here, all right, before Esau began to colonize this side of the earth, okay. So they'll use that slaves obey your master as if that was, all right, justifying them in everything that they did, okay, which they were speaking of during that time when you will have, Jake, all right, will wake up to following Yahweh by hearing the gospel, but he will be a servant in another man's house, whether it was a Edomite Roman or whether it was another Jake, all right, that they was enslaved to, and a lot of times those masters, okay, will be pagan, okay. So Apostle Paul was writing to them about not revolting against that. You still had your obligations as a slave, okay, even though you was in Yahushua, all right. Well, Esau took that and ran with it, and made that, the standard of his captivity, okay. What you have this thing called the slave Bible, which most of the Bible was removed, and only things that enforced his ideology of Edomite supremacy, okay, were left, okay. It says segregation and anti-black racism were often enforced and justified by white Christian churches, particularly in the South. Organizations like the Ku Klux Klan, all right, explicitly wrap their racist violence in Christian symbolism, examples burning the cross. It says white Christian nationalism has been linked to political violence in the 21st century, including, all right, the 2015 Charleston church shooting, January, all right, 6, 2021 Capitol insurrection, okay, and the alphabet, all right, the anti-immigrants, they try to throw Jake, they put Jake, okay, in the and they put Jake, in the category with alphabet, to deem them, the wicked, you see, the unworthy, so they can always point the finger at Jake and just being degenerate. You see, it says worship of power. It says white Christian nationalism often emphasize authoritarian leadership, patriarchal family structures, but here it is: the elites push the matriarch to Jake. All right, but they run their system through a patriarch because they know a matriarch is nothing but confusion and degeneracy, man. Okay, it says militarism and law and order politics, dominion theology, the belief, all right, that Christians should govern society based on biblical law. Okay, so here it is. They try to back, okay, their ideology with the Bible, but their actions are the complete opposite of the Bible. Okay, the laws of the Bible don't govern this Edomite earth. Here it is. These devils have the power of the earth, but the Bible doesn't govern the earth. You see, this reflects, all right, the worship of power, especially cultural and political dominance, rather than a commitment to the more humble, justice-focused teaching of Yahushua. Now, let's get some teachings, okay? Because first off, when did Yahushua, tell his followers to do the things that these devils were doing during the period of colonization with the Bible in their hand? When did Yahushua, all right, tell the disciples to do these things before he left? Okay, before he left, when he came back and he left instructions, it was never to conquer land. It was never to, set up governments. Okay, what did he tell? Okay, the disciples to do. Matthew 28:18, it says, and Yahushua came and spake unto them, saying, all power is given unto me in heaven and earth. Go you therefore and teach all nations, baptizing them in the name of the Father and in the Son and the Holy Spirit. It says, go you therefore and teach all nations. Okay? And it didn't say, take land. Okay? It didn't say colonize. It didn't say enslave. Okay? He left simple instructions, all right, to teach. Verse 20, teaching them to observe all things whatsoever I commanded you. And lo, I am with you always, even unto the end of the world. Amen. Okay? So these devils, here it is, they've conquered the earth with the Bible, but no one understands the Bible. There's only a remnant, okay? According to the elect, the hopeful elect that understand the Bible. So these devils have all this technology and all this convenience, but no one understands the Bible. And that was the instruction Yahushua left. The Messiah left. Okay? So these devils push, this so-called, wholesome Edomite Christian, okay, identity, but it has nothing to do with the Bible when you look at their history. Okay? You see? So going here, let's get this in the book of Romans chapter 12. Okay, the book of Romans chapter 12. Okay, in verse all right, 17. It says what? Recompense to no man evil for evil. Provide things honest in the sight of all men. Where are these principles established, man? Okay, when does Esau apply these Christian principles that he says? When you go into Christian, it was a derogatory term put on the true followers of Yahushua, man, which were Israelites. Only Israelites can follow Yahushua. All right, but according to his ideology of him being this big Christian, him being this big follower of the Bible, when does this devil ever apply these principles, man? Okay, over there in Gaza, you see, okay, they took hostages, all right, so called, and it's been a bombing campaign for the last 2 years. Okay, the towers, which we know what it was with the twin towers. But they say, okay, Bin Laden, these Islamic extremists, okay, well they took down two towers, okay, and what did this devil do? He invaded, and he's been there since the last 24 years. When did this apply? When will this be applied by the white Christian, white Edomite male Christian? Okay, verse 18. If it be possible, as much as lieth in you, live peaceably with all men. Okay, and this man is at war with everyone. Okay, when did this devil ever apply these things? Verse 19. Dearly beloved, avenge not yourselves, but rather give place unto wrath, for it is written, vengeance is mine, I will repay, saith the Lord, Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. Okay, so when do Edomites apply this? Okay, he's all about, and just going back to Lamech. Okay, what Lamech say? If Cain should be avenged sevenfold, I should be avenged 70 and 70-fold, man. Okay, that's the spirit of Esau in. Okay, you do the slightest thing to him, it justifies him in just eradicating your whole people, your whole nation, man. You see, or just people that have done this man no wrong, he'll make up a narrative to justify him, okay, and robbing and stealing and killing, man. Let's go here. We're gonna get that in this in a couple of videos, but let's go in. That's why Yahweh Shai, see, this describes this devil. So Yahweh Shai summed it up with this devil, man, which we always get. Okay, St. John 10 and 10. All right, and it reads, "The thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly," man. Okay, so this what this devil is about. All he does is come to steal, kill, and destroy. That's been his rulership. Okay, well he markets himself as this wholesome Christian that he just wants best. And his tactics are brutal. Okay, but it's the best. You know. So go here. All right, let's get this in Romans 2, and then I want to go to this video with this guy Stephen Miller. Okay, which he's going in. All right, and this is how these devils feel. Okay, it says Romans 13:10 said, "Love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law." Okay, love worketh no ill to his neighbor, therefore love is the fulfilling of the law. So if love worketh no ill to his neighbor, these devils are at war with the earth. Okay, they went on a tour. All right, just robbing, pillaging, enslaving. Okay, impoverishing. Okay, the planet while enriching himself. Okay, and they try to run behind the cloak of the Bible as if they're doing the work of the Lord in righteousness, man. Okay, and he has flipped. You go into white Christian nationalism and the doctrine they believe, they have completely flipped the script to where they're the good guy. The mark of Cain is black people. Black people are marked with the mark of Cain, which they was talking about leprosy, man. Which this devil is a clean leper. Okay, and they say Jake is cursed, through Ham, through Canaan. That's the Mormon doctrine. So these devils have completely flipped the script when it comes to the Bible about who the wicked is, which is him. Is everyone and his ideology is everyone but him. Okay, so let's go here, and we're gonna listen to this guy Stephen Miller, and this is white Christian nationalist. at his finest, man. And this devil, he's pretty much doing a call to arms, man, to Esau. Okay, this whole C. Kirk thing, this is a platform for these devils, to be justified in waging a war. All right, and we know exactly who he's talking to, man. This is Jacob and Esau, man. Okay, this is a thing of Jacob and Esau, so we know exactly who the devil is talking to, man. So let's play this.
Please welcome to the stage, Stephen Miller.
Hello, Turning Point. Hello, Patriots. Hello to our fearless president, Donald J. Trump. And hello to millions of Americans all across this land who are gathered in sadness and sorrow to mourn Charlie Kirk, but also to dedicate ourselves to finishing his mission and achieving victory in his name. The day that Charlie died, the angels wept, but those tears have been turned into fire in our hearts. And that fire burns with a righteous fury that our enemies cannot comprehend or understand. When I see Erica and her strength and her courage, I'm reminded of a famous expression. The storm whispers to the warrior that you cannot withstand my strength. And the warrior whispers back, I am the storm. Erica is the storm. We are the storm. And our enemies cannot come.
And that's the spirit. You see, he said, we are the storm. Let's get that. All right, let's get there real quick. You see? And this devil, he's pretty much rousing up that spirit in Esau, man. Okay? You see, these devils want to go into the New World Order under the banner of Edomite supremacy, man. Okay? Like, look, we at the forefront of this. Okay? So let's go into that. He said, we are the storm. Well, that's what the scriptures say. Let's get that in Isaiah 59. All right? But see, this is what these devils got to understand, because he's going to get to talking that warrior talk. Well, that's cool. Okay? You're supposed to be that. Defend your kingdom. Okay? This is Isaiah 59:19 says, so shall they fear the name of the Lord from the west, and his glory from the rising of the sun, when the enemy shall come in like a flood. All right? Because what he said, he told, he said they are the storm. Okay? And that's right. Okay? But what about this part? The spirit of the Lord shall lift up a standard against him. See, you got to deal with that part of it. Okay, there's going to be a standard lifted against this devil, man. So, yeah, you devils are, all right, the storm, the flood. Okay, but what about that standard that's going to be lifted? You see, and these devils just hyping themselves up to make their move, man. All right, they're going to start with 2/3, but they want to eventually make their way to the prophets, man, and that's when that's when things turn. Okay, so let's go back to the devil. All right, speech, and this is just hyping these Edomites up, man. Okay, hey, we're getting ready to go into another phase, man. Okay,
comprehend our strength, our determination, our resolve, our passion. Our lineage and our legacy hails back to Athens, to Rome, to Philadelphia, to Monticello. Our ancestors built the cities They produced the art and architecture. They built the industry. Erica stands on the shoulders of thousands of years of warriors, of women who raised up families, raised up city, raised up industry, raised up civilization, who pulled us out of the caves and the darkness into the light. The light will defeat the dark. We will prevail over the forces of wickedness and evil. They cannot imagine.
And he's making it seem as if give me a moment, hold on. So he's making it seem as if they're the light. You see, this man is completely turned things upside down. Okay, and scriptures go into that. So now he presents himself as the light, and he's the one fighting against darkness, man. Okay, so let's get that. All right, let's get that. The scriptures speak on all these things that he's saying, man. And see, a lot of people, believe the hype. There's a lot of people waking up. Okay, well then you still have people that believe this hype. Okay, that this devil is the light, man. Okay, so you go here. This chapter 5. So let's go to Isaiah chapter 5. All right, it's the book of Isaiah chapter 5. In verse 20 said, "Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil, that put darkness for light." Okay, and this man has presented a way of darkness as light. Okay, this man has presented everything that's wicked as some type of light. Because what does he put in his spotlight? The degenerate culture, alphabet. Okay, everything that's against righteousness, the true light. Okay, he puts in the spotlight. Okay, he said they put darkness for light and light for darkness. They put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter, man. And this man has put sin culture at the forefront of society. This is the way to be. Do as thou wilt. Go destroy yourself. This is really living. This is liberty. You see? So now he runs as if he's the banner of light, man. Okay? But the scriptures say otherwise, even when you go to the book of Job, chapter 10. Okay, and this man has presented nothing but death, man. People are complaining. Okay, here it is in the richest country, and people complaining about poverty over here in America, man. You see, Job 10 and 21. Depression is at an all-time high, suicide at an all-time high, man. Okay, but he presents this way of living as light. You're living now. You're liberated. Okay, Job 10 and 21, "Before I go whence I shall not return, even to the land of darkness and the shadow of death." A land of darkness is darkness itself, and the shadow of death without any order, and where the light is darkness. Okay, so they put light, is darkness. Okay, any type of righteousness has been demonized in this society, man. Okay, because here it is, these same people, they'll talk about Jake not being in the household, the Israelite father not being there. All right, but look what they do to the Israelite men that are in their father's life. LeVar Ball, Deion Sanders, any man that's in their son's life as a Jake, they demonize the men. Okay, so these people, all right, have made the light as if it's the darkness. Righteousness is that's what's in the way. If we can get this out the way, then we can continue on building and progressing in the light, what he calls the light. Okay? Well, this is the darkest empire they ever ruled, man. Okay? Demon infested. People are more demonic and satanic than ever. Okay? Dysfunction at all time high. Degeneracy at all time high. Okay? Mass shooting can happen at any second. Okay? All under this man's rulership, but he still somehow He's the light that's fighting against darkness, man. Okay? Which is a goddamn lie. Okay, so let's go back to this devil's speech.
Imagine what they have awakened. They cannot conceive of the army that they have arisen in all of us. Because we stand for what is good, what is virtuous, what is noble. And to those trying to incite violence against us, those trying to foment hatred against us, what do you have? You have nothing. You are nothing. You are wickedness, you are jealousy, you are envy, you are hatred. You are nothing. You can build nothing. You can produce nothing. You can create nothing. We are the ones who build. We are the ones who create.
He's talking to Jake.
We are.
You see, he's talking to Jake, and devils really believe that outside of them, the earth is useless, man. No other nation, has ever ran an empire or had civilizations, or had complex systems of, you see. Without them, the earth is in shambles. That's what they really believe. It wouldn't be. It wouldn't be no convenience in the earth without them. Nothing would function right without them. Everyone else, they had to train people up to be useful. European colonization, Edomite colonization, trained the world to be useful. Before them, everybody was just savages and roaming around. Okay, no laws, couldn't write, couldn't spell. No medicines, no nothing, just emptiness without them. Okay, and this is the narrative that they push. So when they talking about you can't build nothing or create nothing, they talking about Jake. And see, they push this narrative as if these degenerate niggas which they fabricated. Okay, that's the standard for an Israelite. A young nigga is the standard for the Jake male. A young nigga with no skills. Okay, and we've gone into it, man. Jake has come on, man. You see, these sons of God, man. Jake, everything that's useful in the earth goes back to a Jake invention, man. We went into these videos about the inventions of Jake, and even some of the Israelite women, certain inventions, man. Even going to the security camera, that was an Israelite woman that came up with that system, man. When you go into the home security system, there was the Israelite woman that did that. Okay, but you go into plenty of things. We'll be here for hours going into the inventions that Jake, all right, created through the spirit and how Bashim al-Shah that made life simpler. Only thing this devil has done, he has the resources to what, all right, mass produce these things. Okay, he has the money to research and advance these things. Okay. But this devil, he's not creative only in wickedness, because all he has done was weaponize all the inventions, man. Okay? Let's go. Let's play this.
The ones who lift up humanity. You thought you could kill Charlie Kirk? You have made him immortal. You have immortalized Charlie Kirk. And now millions will carry on his legacy. And we will devote the rest of our lives to finishing the causes for which Charlie gave his last measure of devotion. You cannot defeat us. You cannot slow us. You cannot stop us. You cannot deter us. We will carry Charlie and Erica in our heart every single day and fight that much harder because of what you did to us. You have no idea. The dragon you have awakened. You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic. You have no idea the dragon you have awakened.
That you have no idea of the dragon that we've awakened. And see, devils getting ready to fight for their kingdom. Okay? And we do have an idea of the dragon, all right, that has been awakened. Okay? You see? And we're going to tell you about that dragon. Let's go here to Revelation 12. Okay? It's the book of Revelation, chapter 12 and verse 7. And it says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. You see? Matter of fact, we're gonna jump down, because right now this is what's getting ready to happen. Then we're gonna jump back up. All right. Revelation 12 and 17, it says, and the dragon was wroth with the woman, and the woman represents Israel. All right. So this nigga's on stage like a breathing dragon. You tell this nigga is pissed, man. And ultimately they're pissed at us coming back to who we are, man. They wanted us to be niggas and degenerates forever, man. Okay. And it's going to show you why he's mad. And the dragon was wroth with the woman. So the dragon, okay, is what? New Rome. Okay. The new Roman Empire, America, NATO, and the EU, man. All right. These Edomite Western governments, man, that run the earth. It says, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, okay, which keep the commandments of the Most High. See, this is why they're wroth. Because we come back to our power. You see, our power is dealing again. Because their kingdom can't function with the Lord dealing with his people, man. Okay, the biggest threat to his people, to Esau's empire, is the elect that have repented. Okay, it says, and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach, man. Have the testimony of Yahweh Shai Hamashiach. Okay, this is this is what has this devil stirred up more than anything. All right, but this is what it's leading him to. Okay, because it's gonna go down, because he talking that warrior talk. Well, that's the time we need you on. Okay, bring out these great Edomite warriors, man. Okay, you're gonna have your way with 2/3 and certain parts of society. All right, but there's a stopping point when you get to the elect, and then Yahweh Shai. That's a whole nother level of a stopping point. Revelation 12 and 7, there was war in heaven in the atmosphere. Michael was a representative of, all right, the heavenly host under Yahweh Shai, fought against the dragon. Hey, Yahweh Shai come to make war with this system, to wage war in righteousness, man. True righteousness, true light. Okay? And it says, and the dragon fought in his angels and prevailed not, neither was their place found any more in heaven, which is in rulership, man. Okay? So this devil's going to be forcefully removed from power. Okay? And it's good that he's hyping himself up, man. Okay? This is an Edomite pep rally, all right, that we're witnessing, man. Okay? It says, and the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels cast out with him, man. Yeah, he's going to get obliterated in that war in heaven, man. All right, all those fighter jets that are scrambled, that's going to go and challenge Yahweh Shai, going to get pulverized, man. Okay? They're going to get their ass pulverized, man. You see? So let's go here. All right? Let's go back. Let's let a little bit of this play.
You have no idea how determined we will be to save this civilization, to save the West, to save this republic. Because our children are strong, and our grandchildren will be strong, and our children's children's children will be strong. And what will you leave behind? Nothing. Nothing. To our enemies, you have nothing to give, you have nothing to offer, you have nothing to share, but bitterness. We have beauty, we have light, we have goodness, we have determination, we have vision, we have strength. We built the world that we inhabit now, generation by generation, and we will defend this world. We will defend goodness, we will defend light, we will defend virtue. You cannot terrify us, you cannot frighten us, you cannot threaten us. because we are on the side of goodness. We are on the side of God. And to my friend Charlie, to my brother Charlie.
Shut your ass up. All right. So it's good that he in that energy, man. You know, and a little dweeb like that. All right. He's not gonna go far in time of tribulation, man. Okay. But it's good that Esau is hyped up, man. Okay. So let's go here. Let's get this in Psalms. All right. We can end it here. Let's get this in the book of Psalm, chapter, I believe is 124. All right, this is the book of Psalm, chapter 124. All right. Psalms 124, 1, it says, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side, now may Israel say, if it had not been for the Lord who was on our side when men rose up against us, man, this devil. Okay. Speaking of Esau, so Esau is revving himself up, man. All right. Yeah, he's preparing, all right, to come forth, okay, with great wrath. It says, then they had swallowed us up quick. Yeah, if it was just, if we was abandoned by a power, the Lord intervened, okay, carnally, there's nothing we will be able to do against this devil, man, and the power that the Lord has given this man on the left-hand side. All right, when their wrath was kindled against us, then the waters had overwhelmed us. The stream had gone over our soul. The proud waters had gone over our soul. Yeah, if the Lord wasn't with us, this devil would be able to overwhelm us, because he's finna overwhelm the 2/3. The 2/3 are finna get overwhelmed by the left hand, man. You know, because they're giving over to that for their refusal to repent during this grace period, man. But the 1/3, nah, the Lord's gonna be on their side. Okay, the Lord's gonna be on that side, man. You know, and it ain't gonna go like he think. You know, because you can tell in his mind, he just a mouthpiece of the conversation that they have, all right, in these different inner circles, man, going all the way up to the top. Okay, he said, blessed be the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, who have not given us to a prey for their teeth. Our soul is escaped as a bird of the snares of the fowlers. The snare is broken, and we are escaped. Okay, our soul is escaped as the bird out of the snare, out of their system. We're the birds, you know, we'll prey. The devils, you know, they in their mind, they finna snare us in this system, man. They finna snare us through this legislation. Okay, but Yahweh Shai is coming to break down this whole system, man. Okay, so that's the point, you know, Lord will. All right, you brothers, okay, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise. Matter of fact, let me finish that. Verse 8, it says, our help is in the name of Yahweh Bashim Al Shai, who made heaven and earth, man. So we have help from on high. We got an aid from on high, man. You know, so just as Esau baited, the Lord, okay, baited Pharaoh, you know, to come after, all right, the children of Israel. Esau was being baited as well. Okay, and it's not gonna go like he think, you know. So they giving themselves these pep rallies, and you see hyping themselves up. But hey, do what you gotta do. You know, we're gonna see how it turn out. We're gonna trust in what's written. You know, we're gonna trust in the victory that's promised, man. You know. So Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edified once again. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kapadash, and double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations to the whole flex. Shalom.